The MIC is on his way. So we will start the next session, the role of cybersecurity in ESG, presented by Tenable. The session is being presented by Mr. Sudip Dash, Head AC, India and CERC, Tenable India. So we would request Sudip to please join us on the dais.
Okay. So I've made a few slides around the topic that I want to present. Role of cybersecurity in ESG, right? Okay, I mean, ESG, what is it? We all familiar, or would it help if I go through a few of the basics of ESG before delving into the subject? Show of hands. I want a little bit of attention here, participation. ESG, what does it mean to businesses? Any few volunteers to talk about it? Just a comment? No? Okay, let me move forward a little bit and start off with a few programs that ESG, under the ESG title, that we can think of. Right? So, few of the examples could be, I'm using coal and I want to go into renewable energies. That impacts my environment, that helps reducing pollution, and ultimately brings in a better world to live in. Simple example, simple, simple idea of why ESG is important for our daily lives. Is it making sense? I'm not seeing any reaction from anybody. Okay, thank you, sir. Right, so there is another company which said that I will not use any new material. I'll use only reusable material. Whatever I produce can be reused. So what does that mean? So the impact on environment for these kind of products is minimal to nothing. And then comes that word of what we call as carbon zero organizations, which means it's not adding to any pollution in our environment. It's helping us with better water, with better solid management, better waste management, right? It is making sure that the society as a whole, we are becoming better. So some initiatives around diversity and inclusion. All human beings are a part of this growing business environment, right? And to do all of these things, first thing that all of us really need to do is know what is the effect of me as a business on the environment today. Only then can I think of what can I improve upon, right? So, do I really know what is my impact as a business in polluting the environment or increasing my plastic wastage or anything of that sort? To be able to understand what is the impact of the services and the products that I produce in the long term to this earth and people in it. Right? I hope these examples are like pertinent and you can relate to these examples, and these examples should be self-explanatory as to why ESG is important, why this need to talk about tech for good needs to be in place, right? So a simple definition of ESG is to create a set of standards that helps us to understand what is my impact on the society, on the environment, and how is this bettering our lives, not just for today, but in the future. For example, Rajiv sir talked about just pursuing your own dreams is not sufficient. Pursuing and helping everybody to achieve their dreams is where ultimately we as a society would be able to contribute meaningfully into an environment. So, ESG is good. Can I see a show of hands who agree and support ESG is good? Thank you. Yes, it should be 100% participation, but I guess people are shy. We all know it is good. So if it is good, why isn't ESG a part of our daily lives? Why is it a term that we need to explain to people? It's because it has one of the reasons, and I'm being very, brutally honest out here, and I'm trying to be. I mean, I think I am trying to be, but always think that there is no regulations. Really speaking, there are no regulations mandating ESG in our environment. If it was, I'm 100% sure, just like CSR initiatives and any other initiative that is, given to us to follow, this would have become but I know a lot of you companies already have created your ESG charter, you already have your ESG programs, and you are responding to it, right? Now, the other part which we know in the last whatever number of years ESG has been around, ESG programs ultimately helps the business. It has become a business initiative, and pretty much 100% of ESG programs does end up creating value for the company. It increases business, it increases profitability, it increases efficiency, it increases all the good parameters that a business wants to see. So it has become a business initiative for greater profitability. So now that we know that all of these things are already in place and we know it is good, what are the two things that I would like for you to concentrate and focus your attention on, so that I can, take you through that role of cybersecurity, which is the ultimate aim of this presentation, is if I have to do all of these, 2 data points which are essential, like any other programs, 2 points are very essential. One is to know what is it that I want to do, and that is driven by data. Right? If I don't have data around what I want to protect, if I don't have the information around what is the impact of me on the environment, and if there is wrong information around that data, the programs will all not go for a toss, right? And this is not just true for ESG, this is true for any initiative that we run. Data is pertinent. And any of these programs that I want to do, or any of the business initiatives that I have, it is, in our world, technology helps drive it. So technology and data are the 2 primary pillars on which any program would run. Again, all of us agree on these points. So far, so good, where I'm getting at, right? Now let's see, now that we have defined what is ESG, what it does for me, what it takes to run a good, successful ESG program, now let's go into what is it that I ultimately get. We did talk about it, but now let's see a few of the good things that it brings about. Positive impact of environment, we all understand that. Carbon emission low, carbon emission zero, extremely good for the environment. It helps improve our quality of life. We are more trustworthy because we are transparent. We are giving the data to our companies, to our customers in a transparent manner as to how we are impacting. It improves the quality of life. It improves transparency and governance. All of these are good material outcome of a good ESG program. Now let's focus on, based upon the technology and the data part, which are the outcomes there. Increased trust. Because I'm open and I'm telling my customers how I'm safeguarding, our customers would believe in us more. If I'm giving an online service and I know it is secure, society as a whole, if it takes up, it gets benefit out of those. For example, an Uber or an Ola, or for that matter, one of the examples that I was reading, and it was quite an interesting one, was work from home. We all did work from home during COVID. Can you relate to think that work from home was actually an ESG program? It removed so much of pollution, removing the commute requirement. It decreased AC requirements, it decreased so many more things. Of course, we have seen during COVID how the pollution levels went down, right? What enabled that? That was enabled by technology. And when we knew that we could use an online video system in a trustworthy manner, we adopted it and we continue to adopt it. So that trust on the technology that helped a ESG program move, that's important. That's an outcome that I get out of an ESG program. Similarly, we talked about business initiatives, so financial success is a big one. Efficiency, because we're doing it in a much more transparent and in a governed manner, efficiency increases, risks are down, and of course, it helps in sustainable growth. Now, let's just focus on this right side of this things. Increased trust, financial success, efficiency. Are these unique outcomes of an ESG program? Can only ESG program provide me these? Is there something that is unique only to the ESG framework? Yes, no? One volunteer is good enough for me to go forward. Yes? Is this unique? Is this outcome unique for an ESG program? It is. No other programs can provide me these output. It can. And just to look into it, if you start thinking cybersecurity, and I was not talking about ESG, would these be outcome of a cybersecurity program as well? Mitigate risk, increase efficiency. Are these outcome of a good cybersecurity program? It is. And that is where I'm getting at. Any program that we run, whether it is an ESG program or a CSR program or innovation program or a Six Sigma program, whatever are the programs, it is supported by technology and data. And where there is technology and data, cybersecurity is imperative. I start a program and it gets hacked. I start a program and it is shut down if cybersecurity is not in place. Success of any program which is supported by technology and data, cybersecurity will come in picture. Cybersecurity by itself as an ESG program will need all of these things, right? So if there is data, if there is technology, for any of these programs, you will need cybersecurity to help them. Now, I believe, the presentation that I really wanted to think that when your board is asking, can I have an ESG program in place? I hope our CISOs and our InfoSec teams are called in and asked, how can I make this program secure by design, secure from inside? Right? Okay? Right? So, one quick, a step back. In this digital world, if nothing happens, who is the happiest person in the team? It's security guys. If nothing happens, we are happy. So if nothing happens, what is the material impact of nothing happening? Is there a material impact? It is. If we consider if something would have happened, what would have been the bad, or what would have been the cost of mitigating a breach? If you think from that perspective, sometimes, when we talk about security and any other program, ESG, it is increasing my business. It's a direct impact that I can look into. But when it comes to cybersecurity, we cannot look into it as a direct impact. We can. There are certain things that does have a direct impact. But mostly, if nothing is happening, security is delivering. Putting a cost and putting a number to that is something that InfoSec guys, we have to do that. But that's the reality of the world, right? So if nothing is happening to my digital world, nothing bad that is, then I have good cybersecurity. All agree with me with that? Right? So if ESG programs are running good, it is running the way it is supposed to run, and nothing bad is happening, most probably it is an InfoSec guy sitting behind who is doing a good job, and he is doing, okay, again, I'm repeating. It most probably is because there is a good security program in place. It is secure by design, and there is monitoring happening, there's governance happening around the security needs of that data and the technology, which ensures that the ESG program is moving forward in the right direction. Okay? All good? So let's go a little more, right? So we do know that most of these innovations are not coming into our public domain, primarily because we still do not know what are the risks to it. Cybersecurity has been the biggest inhibitor of digital innovation. If we have good security, which means if we had good brakes, then we can accelerate, right? We have also heard this particular term, right? If you have to speed up, you should have a brake. Cybersecurity should work in that manner. If I have to bring innovation onto the public domain, I better make it secure before I send it out in the public domain, right? We need to be able to tell when we are running these programs, what are the risk elements that I need to monitor so that it is, and if it isn't monitored, then I know that they are going in the right direction and there's going to be no disruption to that particular program, right? And of course, when we have this reporting and when we have this governance in place, it is going to make it more efficient, more smooth, and of course, lesser cost to deliver, right? So for a successful operationalization of ESG programs, a good cybersecurity program is one of the key elements that will ensure that it is successful. So if I have to really do that, a quick 2 slides on cybersecurity now, just to make sure that we come to the elements of cybersecurity that is going to really help is, the main thing around is, if I have to enable business, I should be in a position to know what is it that I am trying to save, right? So, okay, I'll skip through this a little bit. Right? So the first thing that I need to do is make sure that I have complete visibility of what is it that I'm trying to protect, what is it that I'm trying to run. Every digital asset in my environment, if I know what it is and that it can be compromised, I should be in a position to create proactive security into that environment, right? So the first thing, understand all my assets, understand the risks to all my assets, aggregate it and normalize it into a program, into a single dashboard that can help make everybody understand what it is all about. Next comes, these assets are not disjointed. They're not single entities, a database and a web server and a microservice and a digital identity. They're not standalone systems. They're not standalone digital assets. They're connected to each other. The data that is moving, the access that is giving, these are all connected to each and every asset of ours. So it's important that all these assets have a context to it. The risk, just by looking that, I have a log4j problem. Is that really sufficient to handle risk? Just removing a log4j program, is it really going to make us safe? And I'm sure you have seen that, you've gone through that, updated your applications for log4j. How much security did it really bring in? Well, that's a different question altogether, but we know that it's not just a patching or not just a misconfiguration. There is a context to all of these things, and understanding that particular context is the only way that I can practically mitigate risk. If I blindly start doing security practices, there are so many open holes in our environment that it is impossible to go ahead and secure it. All agree with that? I'm sure people see security findings in thousands in your environment. You don't patch them, but you are still secure. It's because of this whole thing. And the last point, which is most important, it needs to be communicated. Just like when we talked about the fact that when we are doing an ESG program, board should know that there needs to be underlying cybersecurity environment in place that will help the program to be successful. Same thing goes, if I know what are my cyber risks, I should be able to communicate. I should be able to let people know what I need to do, right? A better approach is find everything out, contextualize the thing, and then communicate in the right language to the people that really matters, so that there can be a action around it. All right? Hello? Show of hands. Thank you. All right. So just a quick view. I need to be able to see every asset. I need to have a complete inventory of what I had, because even if there are one or two elements that gets hacked, even if, we heard a few days back, few banks, okay, let's not take banks, few of our organizations lost their Twitter handle. Did it materially impact them? Yes, it did. Did it impact customer data? No, but trust goes down. That's an ESG no. We do not want to lose trust. So I need to have an exposure value or an exposure score for every digital asset that I have the entire inventory, make sure that I understand and contextualize that particular information so that I know where I need to work on. Because the number of assets and the number of findings are humongous, unsolvable problem. But what I really need to focus on, that's a solvable problem. That's a cost-effective problem. Contextualize and prioritize, and ultimately tell the board that this is what am I delivering. As I told you earlier, and we all agreed, that if I show a 0 in risk, cybersecurity is achieving its result. Of course, I don't want to show a 0. I want to show a number so that people can see that, okay, I'm progressing. I mean, what is 0 plus 0? Nothing, right? But, well, you get my idea, right? So we need to be able to communicate in a language that everybody understands, a common language of identifying a security control, making sure that it is improving over a period of time, right? So, to summarize and conclude my presentation, we did establish earlier that ESG is mandatory for us. Good tech is mandatory for us if we have to look into future. Not just our own dreams, but everybody's dreams. We need such programs in place. And to make sure that these programs are running effectively, I need data and technology, and to secure data and technology, I do need cybersecurity in place. I hope this simple correlation should be easy for you to remember whenever you're running these kind of programs. Show of hands, yep, okay, we all agree, thank you. Right, so cybersecurity angle is initiative, any initiative, it's not just ESG, any initiative, bring it into the context of cybersecurity, because no initiative in our businesses are going to go without technology helping it, without data helping it, without digital helping it. And hence, there is a role of cybersecurity for all of us in whatever we do. We all agree with that, right? Okay, thank you so much. That was my last slide.